Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Andrew here. I want to follow in the footsteps of my great friend, Bob Debus, and add my testimony to the testimony of the world. My testimony is that God lives, Jesus Christ is real, and He lives. So I've had some encouragement from my friends to carry on the story of how I became the All-American boy. When I returned from Vietnam, what was it like in those ensuing years? So, probably the most fundamental hinge-like experience in my life after Vietnam was when I discovered the ways of Jesus Christ. And the story is that I was playing in a band called All of the Above. And as I've told you before, you may remember our bumper sticker said A, sex, B, drugs, C, rock and roll, D, all of the above, emphatically checked. So we were a pretty dissolute, hedonistic bunch, taking a lot of drugs, drinking a lot of liquor, and having had a lot of wild young women. It was quite an experience. Oh, and it was also a very, very good band, the best I ever played in. I was so stoked by those guys' talent. Well, anyhow, the band just took off and became more and more popular, exceeded my wildest expectations. And the more successful we became, the more unhappy I was. Just not enough money in the world to fill that hole, that emptiness. The principle is the wickedness never was happiness and never will be happiness. But there is an adversary in this life who wants to make all good things look bad and bad things look good. And that's just been his plan since the beginning. I call him the adversary. There's a lot of other names. But the story was that sometimes I got so depressed playing in all of the above that I would get out in my Camaro and get out on the freeway and go as fast as I could go, close my eyes and take my hands off the wheel, as if to say, do your worst. Nothing ever happened, of course. I'm still here. But the band was playing an extended gig in Richmond, Virginia, at a place called the Polar Lounge. And the Polar Lounge was owned and operated by the local Ramada Inn that was reasonably close to the airport. And when we started playing at the Polar Lounge, there were nobody in there. We had a four-piece band and we outnumbered the audience. But the word spread around. We played there for 2 weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks, there was a smattering of people in there on weekdays. But on the weekends, boy, it was cooking. Friday and Saturday, oh yeah. Sunday even we played. It was good. So they extended us for 2 weeks. And we playing down there at the Polar Lounge. And it got to be that it was busy every night. And on the weekend, it was packed. And so they extended us another 2 weeks. So we were going into our fifth and sixth week. And we were staying in the Ramada Inn. And the hotel maid who took care of my room. Oh, she had a mess to clean up, cigarettes and cigarette ashes, cigarette butts, lots of roaches, you know, spilled stuff on the floor. But every day, uh, she would reach into the drawer there and pull out Gideon's Bible and put it uh, on the on the pillow so that it was face down, text down on the pillow. And I pick it up, and oh, it's open to the Psalms, a Psalm of David, to the chief musician. I went, what? Chief musician? I didn't know that was in there. So, anyhow, I would read the psalm to the chief musician, close it up, put it back in the drawer. Well, the next day she would come back and make the bed, change the sheets, and open the psalms to the chief musician. Oh, there's another one. And so, you know, just about every day for 2 or 3 weeks, I was reading the Psalms. Imagine that. That that maid kept uh, opening it. She was trying to save me, I think, because she knew how wicked I was. Well, anyhow, as it happened, there was a lot of pressure on the band to sign this bad contract, and I was being adamant that I wasn't going to sign the bad contract uh, because my lawyer said that it was invalid. So, anyhow, got into a fist fight with my drummer. And, I didn't want to hurt him, but he came at me, and uh, I found the whole situation so upsetting that I think the scriptures had had an effect on me. And I got on my knees and prayed out loud, oh, dear God in heaven, I believe that there is a God, and I believe that you hear people when they pray to you. And I'm telling you, God, that I am looking for a better way because this version of success is not cutting it. I always wanted to be in music, and I always wanted to be successful, and I always wanted people to like my music, and everything I've ever wanted has come to pass, but it's all ashes. And I'm looking for a better way to live. And so I finished that prayer, and I got up and dusted myself off, and we finished our gig in Richmond. And by that time, they had moved us from the Polar Lounge into the convention center, and we were playing for over 1,000 people every weekend. It was pretty boss. Uh, so anyhow, we finished that. We finished that engagement Sunday night, and then we had the next little bit of time off before we started our next engagement. Uh, so anyhow, sorry about that. Just dropped the phone. Uh, on Tuesday, after my prayer on Saturday, I heard this knock on my door, and I'll never forget. I was wearing this Jesus robe that my wife had made for me, and so I was drinking a cup of coffee, and I went to the door and opened it up. There were these guys in white short sleeve shirts and skinny ties with plastic name tags. And I went, how can I help you? And they said, hi, we have a message for you from God. And I just about had a conniption on the spot. So I said, well, you guys got to come in. We'll have some coffee and talk this over. Because I've been looking for a message from God. And they told me about this kid who had wanted to join the right church, but he got inspired that none of the churches were right, and that he was going to have an opportunity at a later time to teach the correct principles to anyone who would listen, because this is a free land. Oh, cool. So I like that. I like the idea that in order to have a relationship with the big guy, you don't have to go through a priest or a rabbi or a holy man. The way that the God works is that any person who's looking for a relationship with God can just go into the forest or to a quiet place and seek inspiration. And the rule is the eternal principle is ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened unto you. And so I was looking for a better way to live, and the two Mormon missionaries came and knocked on my door with a message from God. And so I guess I just want to share with you that I'm not anything close to a perfect Mormon. You know, use cannabis and I drink coffee and I am. It bothers me when people try to control LGBTQ. I think controlling those people is the wrong thing to do. They are sons and daughters of God Almighty, and they deserve their unalienable rights. Unalienable rights. So I'm not a good Mormon, but boy, I sure do believe that Jesus lives and that he is the Christ. And that through books like the Book of Mormon, there are so many correct principles that I and my family and my friends can learn if they have eyes to see and ears to hear. And I'm not trying to push religion on anybody. I'm certainly not trying to push the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on anybody. But I'm saying, if you look at the life that I live and the fruits on the tree that is my life, I think most people would look at my life and say, oh man, you've got children who love you? Oh, that's wonderful. How'd you do that? Well, tried to adhere to correct principles. So, yeah, man, I'm still married to my wife Jane after more than 30 years. Imagine that. So anyhow, God lives. Jesus is the Christ, and you'll be blessed to the degree that you are able to turn your heart to living by inspiration, because it's by living by inspiration. Seeking ye shall find, knocking it will be opened to you. If you want to live by inspiration, ask for inspiration to live by, and you'll be amazed it's going to come, and you're going to be happy, because the payoff for living by correct principles is that you might have joy. So that's what I leave with you. I leave joy and peace, happiness, and by the way, sub to D9. Peace out.